Hi guys, welcome to the first sort of opening episode of our Odyssey book club. I'm so excited to be starting this process. There's going to be so many videos coming over the next days and weeks covering all sorts of different topics. Ruthann and I, who I'd like to introduce you to here, are going to be going through the text book by book and examining it. And it's all going to come together as a cohesive block of content that you can then use as a study guide in the future, maybe, or just as something you follow along with while you're reading the book.
But before I get too ahead of myself, this is simultaneously the first and last book club episode that you're going to see on this channel, at least for the core episodes with my Meemaw, Ruthann. All future episodes will be posted on Milo 2, which is the name of my second channel, linked in the description down below, and book 1 is already available to watch there, so you can sink your teeth into it. Now, the only exception to that is there'll be a few guest episodes coming to my main channel, featuring some really awesome guest speakers, which I can't wait to show you guys, so you'll have to stay tuned for those. But let's get back to introductions for now. So this is Ruthann, my Meemaw.
I studied classics at university, and then I went on to do English literature and became an English teacher. But I guess you could say that my first love has always been, the classics, the Greek and Roman world, and so when you came to me with the idea that you were, number one, that I didn't even know about, there was going to be a film coming out about the Odyssey by the amazing Christopher Nolan, and that you wanted to revisit the book, I really welcomed the chance because, and it's been great. It's been really fun going through it again and having a look at it all these years later.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I should make that really clear. So you did study classics.
Right.
When you were at university.
Yes.
It's just that you then also studied English directly afterwards.
That's right.
And then had a full career as an English teacher, and it was English literature was your focus, correct?
Yes, basically. Although I did a couple different years, I would do great books or world books, and I did way back when, in some of the first years of my teaching degree, did teach the Odyssey.
Okay.
So.
Well, in that case.
But I'm not. No, I don't consider myself at all a classicist or an expert. Just an appreciation. I have a great appreciation for the story that's told and how it's told.
Yeah, she's maybe too humble. So I think it's also important for us to talk about what our approach is going to be. I have never read anything that would be considered a classic ever in my life. This is the very first thing that I'm approaching in this realm. It's just completely new to me. So I'm going to be coming at this whole series of conversations very much as an enthusiastic student and not someone that professes to know really what I'm talking about. And so there'll be quite a lot of things where I'm going to just be bold and I'm going to throw theories out. I'm going to throw out ideas, and they may not align with what's considered the correct thing in the canon of classics or what have you. But I think it's important to permit yourself to be new to something, right? And to have those kind of incorrect ideas and then use those to chisel your way towards the truth and towards the sort of accepted body of knowledge. And so that's very much my goal. And I think for you, you do have some of that classical education and familiarity, but because you're returning to it, there's also a new perspective that you're seeking to find from this, right?
Yeah, and I would say also that coming back to it again, I'm looking at other things that maybe I didn't notice so much the first time, like imagining more the life that was and their habits and the development of Odysseus's character. You can't help but kind of notice. I guess that's the English teacher in me. Yeah. And we'll just sort of balance our ideas off each other and see what happens.
Yeah, and I want to forewarn everyone that might be watching this that I am definitely going to be adjusting to the way that classics, or specifically this text, I think, should be read, in that when I read anything, like I'm currently reading some Steinbeck sort of on the side from what we're doing here, I'm always looking for symbolism and meaning and this depth and the underlying layer of something crafted that has been squeezed in there unbeknownst to the reader until you kind of dig for it. And that isn't really, in my understanding, something that is as applicable to Homer as it would be to Steinbeck, right? The classic internet meme, if you will, is the comment that I think originated on Tumblr years and years ago about the curtains just being blue, and how English teachers often will look for meaning in a text and they'll pull out all the symbolism that they can, and sometimes students kind of struggle with that, and they're just like, the author could never have intended any of this. It's just a blue curtain. Just leave it at that. It doesn't need to mean that they're sad or something, right? But I love doing that stuff. I'm obsessed with trying to unpack all of those mysteries. And so it's going to be a challenge for me to not do that too aggressively with the text here, and instead to read it for what it is. And that's something which I've also gone into depth with some guest speakers on. And so I've got a conversation with Erica Stevenson from the Modern Ancients YouTube channel, and we dive into the Homeric question and when the text originated and how it would have been received and where it sits amongst the other texts of the time. That stuff is covered there. But for the purpose of my conversations with Ruthann, we will be pretty much going book by book and framing it as what our reactions to the text are in that moment. So it's not so much for our conversations going to be, this little sentence in book 2 is really strikingly similar to another sentence in book 20 of the text. We won't be doing that nearly as much as we'll be saying, when I personally was first reading this passage, which was very recent, I felt a certain way. And this made me ask certain questions. And we'll sort of dig into the first time reading experience, as well as the returning to the text after a long time experience, and just see where those conversations take us.
Good.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited. This is something I've wanted to do for so long, and it's happening.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So as we go along, if you have any suggestions or comments that you'd like to make along the way, please let us know. This very much is intended to be something that can live on after the time that we're doing this live, and can be useful potentially for people in the future who want to go through the text themselves. You may be watching these videos when it's not 30 odd degrees in France and swelteringly hot. Maybe you're in a completely different part of the world altogether. But regardless, I hope that it can be a useful resource for you all, or just something entertaining to listen to or watch over your dinner, something like that.
Most of all, I hope you really enjoy it.
Yeah. It's going to be a great time. So this is our introductory episode. We've got this out of the way. And the next episode that Ruthann and I will record will be us sort of jaunting our way through book 1 of the Odyssey.
Great.
We'll see you there.